Mm-mm.
We're live.
And we are live. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Brother Mordeed. This is Brainwashed on Heavy. And we are back with another show with my panel, DCR and Sister J.
Feeling good, feeling good. Feeling very good.
Yeah. We're back, man. We having a little technical difficulties here. I'm trying to work through them right quick. But other than that, how's everybody feeling?
Great.
Great.
That's good to hear. Anybody catch that weather? We had some really bad weather come through here earlier.
You're doing good out this way.
No, it's nice here. A little warmer than usual.
Yeah.
My-
You know what that means.
Yeah, I said the same thing when I stepped out this morning. It was a lot warmer, and I knew that was the recipe for some storms to come through, and they did. They definitely did.
We didn't really, we just got a lot of rain. We got a little bit of rain here and there. We didn't really. We're gonna get something though. I'm pretty sure, but not yet. Usually Monday is our day. We'll get what you
Yeah,
got
we
today.
had I love the rain, but we had some well, let me get into some of the headlines we're gonna talk about today. Before we get into the show.
Sorry.
I don't want to take up too much time talking about headlines today. I see little man. But we got some tornadoes that came through the south, and they killed. They said had about 30 tornadoes come through this evening. I think the states
30.
were. What'd you say?
30.
Yeah, they had 30 tornadoes that came through. And they went through at least 6 states. And I think they
Dang.
killed so far. Last time I checked, it was like 80 people. So it was crazy. I know Missouri caught it, Tennessee, Mississippi, Arkansas. Yeah, so a lot of states caught them, but very bad tornadoes. And in Illinois, they had a Amazon warehouse that got destroyed. I think it killed like 6 people.
Heard about
Hey,
that.
fuck Amazon shit up, man. Come on, man.
Yeah. So the
I'm
storms is
pissed
crazy.
off when I heard Amazon. Ain't that bad, yo? I got mad because you said Amazon, yo. I'm thinking like that's fucking everybody orders up, nigga.
Nah, it's a lot, but Amazon's everywhere, man. They
I know, man. They talking tornadoes out here. Like last time, I mean, they always say tornado alert, but nothing ever happens. But one day that shit gonna happen.
Well, what's that
Feel-
about?
Right here, right out here.
warm weather. The warm weather meets cold. So that pretty much what sparks those storms like that when it gets extremely warm when it's supposed to be cold, and then the cold air comes back in, and
Yeah, that makes
it's a
sense.
bad mixture.
But you know too, we haven't really got weather around here like that. You know, we haven't got the hard. We haven't had the hard, change. You know, that's like we was getting this kind of weather back in the day. So this it's like they're treating it like it's something new. You know what I mean? Like they're just treating it like it's something new now because we starting to get. It seemed like the atmosphere is kind of adjusted back to what it used to be, to my opinion. But
Well, I think, I mean, well, based on my research, we got 2 parts to the weather. Well, actually, 3 parts to the weather. One part would be the fact that you got people in high places who created technology that can manipulate the weather. That's very real. It's called HARP, and HARP is real, and they use that technology to kind of mess around with hurricanes and the weather and stuff like that. But then you got the fact that people are influencing the weather whether they know it or not, and by default, they produce certain situations. And then you got the natural flow of how the weather is going to be. So we got 3 parts of the weather that is very important, and it's kind of a segue into what we probably going to talk. Well, what we are going to talk about tonight, energy, and how it affects every aspect of our existence, whether we know it or not. So yeah, we're gonna get into that. But yeah, the weatherman was, I'm not gonna say it was weird, but I already knew when you in tune with stuff like that. I already knew that something like that was coming down the pipe when I stepped out the door this morning. So I didn't know it was going to be on this magnitude of the deaths, and because I looked at the footage when I was at the barber shop, and they showed the footage of some town in I forget, it's somewhere in the south, but it just looked like a bunch of sticks. Like the tornadoes just shredded up everything like small pieces of paper. It's crazy.
I have to look that up, but it's crazy that what that reminds me of, what you're saying with the weather. A few months ago, I don't know where I saw it, but like pretty much I was looking up like this Alexa, how Alexa you can ask questions and blah blah blah. But if you go on YouTube, you can there's a clip where I think somebody asked Alexa like what happens to Florida and in 2025 or something like that. Alexa gives a date, a time, the category 5, and it's going to devastate, I think, most of Miami, and like she goes into detail like of what this storm is going to do, how, and I'm like how in the world, you know what I mean, like do you know ahead of time, so far ahead of time, as far as the a hurricane,
That's crazy.
5
well,
this,
you could calculate things too from how things repeat itself around certain times. You calculate things that way too, from past experiences and sometimes you can actually see, just like storm season, hurricane season. You know, you kind of can predict. I mean, not being on point, but you can predict a storm at certain times. I mean, you know when it's about to come and why it's about.
They were gonna just make it.
Yeah, they definitely. I mean, we have almanacs and stuff like that, and those almanacs are structured on moon cycles, past history, and it's calculated like our weather. It's supposed to have a systematic trajectory on how it's supposed to be over a period of time, and it's put into those almanacs for farmers to help regulate, you know, crops and stuff like that, and full moons and all of that stuff. So we kind of have a working model when it comes to the earth and what it does naturally. But when things kind of get off chart and starts looking a little funky, but that thing about Alexa, all I can say is AI is very real, artificial intelligence, and they have these programs where these things can compute and calculate and put together things that you just, you know, kind of hard to wrap your head around. But that's one of the ways. There's a guy called Cliff High. I've been following Cliff for at least a decade. He created this computer program called the WebBot. And the WebBot is a software that he designed that can predict future events by the software sends out these little bots, and it scours the internet and the dark web too. And what it does is it's based on the fact that everybody on the planet is psychic, right? Everybody has psychic ability. We're tapped in. And psychic impressions that emit from everybody, whether they know it or not, are able to give an indicator of what future events may be based on the leakage of that psychic energy from everybody that's online. And his software was able to take that data and calculate events in the future. And he's been very, very successful at predicting future events. I mean, I fuck with Cliff heavy. I check his site every day. He's put out videos just about every. He also predicted our current situation. He just had a different name for it, because you got to understand when he's deciphering the information, he has to attach from his mind what the information is saying. He has to interpret it. So instead of him calling it, as we call it, CV-19 or corona, he used the term sun disease. The sun has a corona.
What's his
so
name?
He just called this Cliff High.
Cliff High.
CLIFF High. He's dope. And when he's on people's shows, man, like Cliff's that dude. He's like a scientist nerd. He practices martial arts, and he just knows a lot about everything. He's just one of them dudes. And he had cancer once, and he died, came back. He said universe wasn't his time. Universe sent him back because he had a job of, you know, putting out this information and preparing us for what's going on. But his take on what we're doing right now, you will love it, Mr. DCR, because we'll have to talk about that, you know, off the show. But Cliff next level with it. But yeah, man, he's very interesting character. Like a lot of people fuck with Cliff heavy. And like I said, I watch his videos and his updates all the time.
Speaking of that, Cliff High.
Yeah.
What about time travel? You guys, what do you guys think?
Oh, go ahead. Say that again. Finish what you're saying. I'm sorry.
No, I said, what do you guys think about time travel? Like, what, you know?
I see time travel in a lot of different ways, though. I even look at cars as time machines. I look at, airplanes as time machines. They are modern day time machines. If you think about it, they could calculate how far they can go to one spot to another. That's dimensional, So
Yeah.
That's when I look at things like that. What'd you say?
I say, yeah, if you look at it that way, yeah.
So, you know, I mean, that's how I see time travel, honestly. I see time travel like that. You know, you can go back, but you can't go back in that time, but you can backtrack, you know? So that's, you know, you can backtrack with time travel, but a little different from really traveling. Maybe Dre got some deeper info on that, but I just
On time travel.
Yeah, time
From my research, well, first you gotta have a good understanding of what time really is before you talk about time travel. And once you understand what time really is, because time technically doesn't exist.
Right.
Exactly.
So when you're talking about traveling within a concept that does not exist, then you have to restructure that whole idea. And from my research, time travel is not moving from point A to point B either in reverse or forward, but more or less it's interdimensional travel, because all things are existing, past, present, and future are existing in different dimensions. If you can travel to those dimensions, and when I say travel, the mind automatically gives you the perception of something that I can get in and move to get there. And that's not what I'm saying when I'm talking about time travel. I'm talking about blipping in and blipping out, if that makes sense. Popping in and popping out of existence. Mm-hmm. When we time travel biologically without machines, we do it with our mind. And time does not exist when we time travel with our minds. We pop in and pop out. Time can't even be calculated. Even when you're in the dream state, you can't calculate how long you was in the dream world. I was in there 30 minutes. It was an hour. Nobody can come back and tell me from a dream how long they was in a dream, what day it was. You know, they just can't, because time is irrelevant. But that's a whole nother discussion. We're talking about time travel.
I mean, it's interesting. It can be used as a tool, though. I think it's more like used as a tool. You know, it is measurement, because think about it, like as we grow, we get older. You know, we get stronger. We start from this size, and we can calculate. We can calculate that. I mean,
what's that calculation based on?
It depends, because we all can make up our own calculations if you really want to think about it.
Give me an example. You know me. Give me an example of that calculation.
What I'm saying is, like, from seeing how children grow, you can pretty much. Part.
You know, I got that part.
I'm saying, but you can see the majority of people, their growth stages, and if you wanted to calculate that, you can make some kind of measurements on that, because it's really just a ruler. Really, you're just using a ruler to measure, you know, things that you experienced, or what you're seeing. So if you keep seeing it, like, okay, it take about that long, so I'm gonna start measuring and making up a time frame for that. So I think
did you hear
it's something like you can add like a like a ruler.
Not to cut your wisdom, but did you hear what you just said? You said something that we can create, right?
Right.
We can create to calculate it.
Right.
Which means man has to create some sort of method of calculating something that does not exist technically. If you don't calculate it, we just exist in the now moment, which is the only moment that exists now. So if you look at death, people are really popping in and out of existence. When you really peel back all the layers, you exist and then you don't.
I mean, still getting heavy with it. To another level, though. You know what I mean? You still see a person from. You still got me as a little boy to becoming a grown ass man. It's got to be some type of calculation there.
Yes. There is a calculation
somewhere in there.
Yeah, there is a calculation, but that calculation is man-made.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
It could be anything you want.
It's not real.
Yeah,
It's not a real.
It's like an additive. It's a tool. It's a tool that you use. Yes, it's a time tool. I mean, that's why I call it the. Yeah, go ahead.
So when you get outside of man's parameters of calculating what they call time, what do you have from an organic perspective? Like, what do you have? Because days, weeks, and months, and all of that stuff, those are things man-made that are geared around commerce and money, and society is kind of in sync with man-made time. Now, our ancestors didn't operate on man-made time. They operated on galactic and the precession of the equinoxes and how our solar systems move through the universe. So a day might be 30,000 years based on cosmic clock. Right. And how we move from point A to point B throughout the cosmos. Man creates time down here on Earth to try to control self.
Yeah, like
they use it as control, but it's still a apparatus that's used to gauge his existence, in so to speak.
I think I think it's more used on structure and control. You know, because when you like build things on a time frame, you know everything. You know, it works within that time frame, so you can pretty much use that math and do whatever you want with it. You know what I mean? Because we still got to respect the fact that even though time is a man-made thing, change from past to present is still gaps in that creates a measurement. So
no gaps.
What I'm saying is the gaps is from me being a kid to being what I am now.
Those are not even gaps.
No gap.
You know why they're not gaps? If you were able to comprehend at age, let's say 1, right? No, let's say we come out the womb and we're able to comprehend. Straight out the womb, we can talk in the whole 9, and we're self-aware out of the womb. I exist out of the womb.
Right.
At that moment, there's no difference between you existing in the now moment and you existing now in the now moment. There will be no difference. Because if I go back to when I'm 5, huh?
See, but you're kind of eliminating growth to a certain degree.
No, I'm not eliminating growth. What I'm saying is it all happened at such a slow pace. You think that it's something that happened a long time ago, because that change is. In other words, when I go back to, I can remember being 5, right, in Asbury, going to the pediatrician with my mom. I had a fever. I remember being sick, stopping at the corner store to get a quart of water. Matter of fact, it was grape. It tasted horrible because I didn't feel well. I mean, this is truth. Now, if I put myself in that body at 5, that consciousness that's aware of everything that's going on and how I feel, that's the same consciousness that's in me right now, aware of what's going on in this podcast. The only thing that changed was my body.
But that shows you that there's still there is some type of measurement in that change. Is this still there?
Big and small.
It's big and small. Yeah, I mean, because if you're growing, that can be calculated. You can make up your math by growth mentally and by physical and mental.
I mean,
that's something that's here, but I mean, man-made time is definitely man-made. But
go ahead, Jay. What you want to say? You look like you want to say something. Busting at the seams.
I'm like brewing. That makes so much sense to me, because there's so many times, like, I always, like, when I'm telling people things or explaining something that's happened, like, weeks ago or months ago or whatever, like, I actually can feel that very moment. Like you saying you remember being sick as a kid. I remember an incident being in my crib, like, and there was like, we lived in Asbury Park, and there was like this little hole that my mother used to, like, she used to put foil. I know it's foil now. At the time, I just would see her, and these little green things. in the corner, and I remember being in my crib, and I was like laughing, and then I was terrified because there was like a rat that jumped in my crib. And my mother was like, who told you that story? Like, was it your grandmother? And I'm like, I remember this. I remember being in my crib. But every time I tell that story and many others, like, I feel like I'm like at that.
You know, you just
because you were. Because you were.
You know, she just said something though. You just opened me up to something. You just said something very, very crucial to this whole thing. Memory.
Time travel. The mind.
That's you real. Just said, because you said memory. When you said, I remember something, I remember memory is where it all lies. Memory. Memory is where the whole time thing, the essence of all of it is actually memory. But at the same time, there is growth. There is growth from you know one.
You know, there is growth there, man. You know, he had to throw that in, man. Let me make sure I throw growth in there, nigga. I feel you.
Growth, though. I mean, you know, we got to look at that, even though it's not like for instance, like we learn from experience again, like with the same thing. If you know, from transcending, what's the word? Transcendence or cultivation? One of them. Which one am I looking for? I'm looking for one of those words. Cultivate.
Well, it depends on how you're gonna use it. I mean,
I don't even know how. but I'm saying from one point, from generations of learning things, you develop an understanding of time. You know, like from one part to another part. Most where that person, that individual is good enough to do this, but some people got shorter times, longer times. You know what I mean? So it's like we're a little different, but we all grow. So growth is a part of, not saying time exists, but a calculation. You can calculate growth on a system. It's basically based on a system.
I'm gonna tell you, if we came out the womb and we were able to talk and have full awareness, right? This conversation would be very different because there would be no difference between what was then when we came out and right now. The only difference would be is the fact that our bodies changed.
Yeah, so change is still a resort of time.
Don't put change and time in the same. They don't go together.
Well, change, it does have its levels to get to a change, and like from moments ago, you look like this, and then you just calculated from that point to this point. You calculated, you measured it. You measured it.
What if you don't measure it? What do you call that?
Well, you don't have to measure it if you don't want. If you want a system, I'm just saying, if you want a system, you will want to measure it. But at the same time, measuring it will kind of give you an edge to a certain degree. You know what I mean? Because if you measure something, you can pretty much figure out what you need to do, like what you call it, preparation. Preparation is kind of somewhat in sort of in that math too. Like preparation for something, you need to do this and that to be prepared. So there is a frame in between that. You know, it's I'm just saying,
when you prepare, you prepare, it's still gonna be the now moment. When whatever you're preparing for actually arrives, it's still gonna be now.
I understand what you're saying, but there is measurements here. The time is a measurement.
Yeah. We're not debating measurement. We're debating time.
Is a measurement.
So if you don't measure, what do you call it?
You call it whatever you want to call it. You could call it, I guess. You could call it existing too. You could call
it the now moment. The now moment is the only moment in your life. Is the now moment that exists. That you can actually say. Because realistically, even if you wanted to calculate a past event, right, you had to use all of this external shit to calculate it. But what if you didn't have all of that? You will always exist in the now.
Yeah, but you will always exist in the now. But see, the thing about it is, but when you do
go ahead, Jay, what you got? Go ahead, Jay, what you got?
we're technically either looking back or we're looking ahead or whatever. But it's. I get it. I get it. I get
What if
it.
we're all what if we're all viewing it at the same time and don't realize it?
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Think
how to
about what I just said.
explain
What if we are all viewing it at the same time and don't realize it? You're viewing now. You're viewing when I was 5. You're viewing when I was 10. The first time I got some ass. The first time I had pizza. You're viewing it all and now at the same time. Simultaneously, you viewing all this shit. And it's still now. It's still right now.
But it's but it's still got to pass, though, because you're coming up with this shit.
Those are words. Those are words we use to describe it. But you can visit every fucking thing that happened in your life from right now.
That's very true.
I mean, I forgot a lot of my shit. I'm gonna be honest with you, but
yeah,
that's memory. That's memory.
Got a lot too, but yeah, it makes sense.
But I believe I believe it's just all systematic. The whole thing with time is all systematic. If you're trying to make a system, it's going to revolve around measurements and everything else. Just like a house, you're going to measure everything.
I would agree. I would agree. When you come into time and space, you got to have all of these parameters to calculate whatever in this. When you have dimensions. But yeah, that's definitely true. That's why when people have transcendental experiences and when they use things like what did Mike Tyson use? Toad, I forget the toad stuff he used. Then you got I can't pronounce the one from the rainforest. But anyway, these are psychedelic herbs and things that people take where they have transcendental experiences. And they all explain that they go to a dimension where all is one. There is no time. Everything exists simultaneously, and you are part of all. And the only way we get to experience those things are outside the body. So there's limitations. But anyway, let's move forward on to the
I want to ask something. Oh, what happened?
Go ahead. What you got to ask?
It's I mean, it's going back a little bit, but when you said when we were talking about the, like I mentioned, the time travel, would that be similar to the explanation you gave? Would that be similar to like a quantum jumping or something like that?
Exactly.
Oh, should have said it then.
Yeah, exactly.
I was like, it sounds
quantumly, like, yeah. And they show you that in some of the Marvel movies, how they're able to, go to different time, and these are words, but go to different time frames in existence to change things. And it's all done quantumly. And the thing about, I'm gonna say Europeans, they have this thing of building ships to time travel and building, thinking that they can travel at the speed of whatever to time travel, and that's simply not it. It has nothing to do with that. But ultimately, this is the stuff that they give us. They know that ultimate time travel has nothing to do with building a ship or something and being able to do that. They know how real time travel is achieved, and that's just like warp speed. When you look at these shows like Star Wars and all of that, warp speed is not the fact that the ship is actually going that fast, but they're bending and folding space from one point to the next, and it looks like that they are moving through space, but no, they're just folding their shit and coming out
like
on the other side. Yeah,
me one so in.
Yeah. Honestly. So when you fold space, it's not a point of you moving super fast. You're just, when you bend something on one side, the two ends meet, and then when it opens back up, you just on the other side of, when it opens back up.
Mm-hmm.
You can tell you watch a lot of stuff like I do. I remember that too. I I forgot what movie that was from too, with the unfoldings. Some movie presented that. I forgot what movie it was.
Yeah, a lot of them talk about that now, how they, bending the whole bending space thing and all of that.
Talking that stuff like back in the 80s and 70s, man. These cartoons and stuff like that been teaching us slowly but surely.
All right, well, we're gonna go ahead and get into energy. Is it the bad guy? Is it the good guy? Who knows? And we are back once again. This is WBLS. Classic. Y'all crazy. But I wanted to talk about energy, man. It's always a taboo discussion when people talk about how there's a force that permeates everything in existence. And a lot of people have their way of plugging into this source, whether it be through Christianity, Jesus, God, whether you're Buddhist. There's many different frameworks that are out there where people interface with this energy, but it permeates all things in existence. And what we want to talk about today is we want to strip away the ideologies of a particular religion and just look at the universe in its mechanics and how it works. And stripping away those belief systems allow anybody to kind of understand where we're going to go with this conversation tonight and not kind of be marginalized in, we're talking about a particular faith or anything like that, because that's not what we're about to do. So the question was asked last week, not from you guys, but from someone else. I kind of gather information from everyday people that I'm talking to. And the question was asked, how can a herb, let's say, I'm gonna give you an example. Okay, the person basically asked me, how can a herb have power to cause things to happen? You know how people who, you have people who deal with herbs, they deal with different herbs for healing, they deal with herbs for protection, they deal with herbs for money, they deal with herbs with many different things. How could the question was, how can a plant have the ability to produce such a result, right? And as well as stones and crystals and things like that. And I had to break it down to them that everything in existence is energy. And we learn in school that everything is composed of small particles called atoms. Atoms are small particles of energy. There's nothing in existence that is not composed of these small units of energy. And if you split an atom, you're talking about nuclear power at this point. So my thing is this: if everything is energy, then everything has an energy signature, whether you know it or not, which means you can pick up a flower, whether it be let me give you an example. You pick up a herb that's used to pull out poisons, right? The energetic signature of that plant is used to pull, which means it'll do it from a medicinal perspective. If you apply it to the body or you ingest it, it's going to pull. It also has a pulling signature from an energetic perspective. It's still going to pull on an energy level. This is how plants have the ability to do a lot of things that people fully don't understand. And that's just plants. So what about the energy that we give out mentally? And that could be very detrimental to you if you're not aware of it. People say, well, I'll just pray to God and I'll pray to Buddha or I'll pray to Jesus, which is fine because that's energy. Thoughts are energy. And that energy has a intent and it has a projected destination. You're sending that energy somewhere, which means it has a purpose now. It's very important for us to be mindful that by default, we are subjected to bad stuff because of the energy that we are attaching to our thoughts. So, my panel, I would like to ask you guys, what do you guys think about the flow of energy, whether it be bad or good? But, I'm of the school of being aware of my thoughts because it's energy in motion. And if a person can look at you and wish ill on you, that's energy with intent and it's projected directly at you and it's coming your way, which means it's going to affect you in some shape, form, or fashion, whether you know it or not. That's just a person just looking at you like hate. Hate is real on an energetic level. It can impact you. It can hurt you. It can make you sick. So let's deal with the default of being aware of energy and not being aware of energy and how it can cause a lot of harm and also cause a lot of positive things to happen in a person's life. It's all about energy tonight.
I remember this job I was working at, and like I'm really sensitive now that I'm older, like in that I pay attention to certain things. I'm really sensitive. I don't like people like touching me. Like it just depends. Like, my family and stuff like that is different, and I don't like people standing too close to me. And I remember like 2 stories. Oh my gosh. There was this lady at a facility. I'm gonna make that one short because this other story is gonna it's bananas. The first time I realized it is the next story, but there was a lady at a facility that I used to work in, and whenever she got close to me, I had to step back. It's like I was like, I don't know if her energy and mine were like clashing but it just like it was like she irritated me. She was really nice, but anytime she got close to me, it's like I was like, I don't know how to explain it. It was like really weird. So I had to kind of deal with her from a distance, and I would usually step back, like kind of, not obvious, like, whoa, but just kind of subtly, just so that, I didn't make her feel bad or anything like that. And she was a really nice lady, but something about her, like, and I know it was her being in my space because it was weird. And I never got that with anybody else, but this other story, when I first noticed that I would pick up, I remember I got dolled up and I was dressed and I was going out with my mother and my sister. My sister, she died a few years back and she had sickle cell. And I was in the car with the three
pause
of them.
Pause for the cause because I gotta ask.
Huh?
Is because I didn't know this. Was this Sister J?
Did you know Cookie? I don't think you knew Cookie.
No, I'm thinking about crazy self that was always laughing in lunch. Forget her name, but she's fine. So we can move along. You know what I'm talking about. Your other sister. No.
Sarah? Oh.
Not Sarah. No.
Not Sarah, clearly.
Maybe she had another name. You guys called another name. I forget. She used to date a guy from up the hill. Kobe, maybe?
Oh, that's Sabrina.
Sabrina. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not her.
Sabrina, she will punch me in my face for forgetting her name. Oh my God. Sabrina used
Yes,
to have me rolling in lunch. But anyway, go ahead.
but yes, my this one's my younger sister.
Okay.
The youngest out of like everybody. And I got in the car, I was like dressed and, just ready to go, like on an outing, and we were going to eat and all kind of stuff. I got in the car and all of a sudden I felt like this was the first time ever, and it threw me off. And I remember clearly, like, I felt like I wanted to kill myself. I was like depressed, and I was just like, and mind you, this ride was like maybe a good 20, 25 minutes. So at one point, I even felt like I was going to break down and cry. And I was like, what is the matter? I kept saying to myself, like, what's wrong with me? Like, what's wrong with me? And I looked at my mom and I was like, what's wrong with me? Like, And then I looked at her and she was completely silent. She was like, she just had this look on her face, like, and I didn't say two words. I just kind of looked ahead, and she was driving. She was driving. I just looked ahead and I was saying to myself, am I feeling what's going on with her? Like, so we got out the car and we went into a beauty supply store. We were in Fort Pierce. I'll never forget. We were in Fort Pierce and we went into a beauty supply store. And do you know that when we got out the car and I separated from her, it was like that feeling was like gone. So I whispered to my mom and I was like, something's wrong with Cookie. And I said, because I was picking up what she's feeling in the car. And my mom's like, what? Like, as if to say, like, I guess maybe she took it as like, I can tell that something was wrong with her.
So
But,
Cookie was in the car. Cookie was with you.
huh?
Was Cookie with you guys?
She was driving, and I was in the.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
Yeah, she was driving, and when I was in the car, like it didn't happen like instantly, but it was just gradually. I felt like I wanted to cry, like it was like the craziest thing, and I felt like I wanted to die, like I wanted to kill myself. And I'll never forget that. So at that time, this was like, a year probably before her death, but and Cookie was sick so much, like in and out of the hospital. So it doesn't surprise me. And I've had conversations with her when she like she was actually like depressed and sad at those,
Yeah.
but that specific time was the first time I've ever felt like, and I looked at her and it scared me. So I just kept looking ahead and I'm saying to myself, like, is this like what she's feeling that I'm picking up? And so, yeah, it doesn't happen too much now. Like after that, I couldn't really get on an elevator with a lot of people because it was like, I would want to scream and just like run off, So, but that
Yeah, when you're really sensitive to other people's energy, you can pick it up, and those energies can make you ill when you're around the wrong type of energy. Because you can pick, especially if you're an empath. I'm an empath, so I feel and take on what other people are feeling, and it makes you uncomfortable and weird and all that type of jazz. But the energy transfer is very real. This is why it's important to take time to cleanse your aura, cleanse your auric field, because there's a lot of things that you'll pick up on your day-to-day interactions with people, and those things stick to you. And it's like taking off dirty socks. You got to change those socks. You got to change them out and put on some clean ones. So when your aura gets gunky with a lot of etheric clutter and different spirits and things that get attached to you, you got to get that stuff out of your auric field, because it'll weigh you down and it'll make you ill. And then you have parasitic type of entities that'll just feed off of you. But and when you're not aware of that, like I was saying earlier, if you're not aware of that, you can go through life and have experiences where it seems like things are just not going right for you. No, you just picked up some etheric parasites and they're stuck, and you need to periodically cleanse that off so you can function a lot better. But when you're talking about like martial arts, in the transfer of energy. They call it chi and stuff like that. But when you look at the fact that energy exists in everything, that energy can be channeled in a certain way where it can be compacted in a certain area and projected off of you to someone else, that can also cause harm. And our military actually has weapons like this, pulse weapons, where they can project energy weapons and hit you with, a weapon from, hundreds of miles away, but there's no projectile. It's just pure energy. And you may feel like you're on fire, like your skin is burning. This is real. So I say this to say, that being mindful of your thoughts is very important when it comes to energy. Like, I know someone who has I'm not going to say bad luck, but I'm going to just say this. They predominantly always thinking about what bad can happen all the time.
Oh my God.
And believe it or not, that's exactly what happens to them all the time, because their mind is consistently vibrating on bad shit, and it follows them like a rain cloud.
And you know what, too? I don't. It's not so. I believe that it follows them. I believe that they create it.
Well, yeah, that's exactly what we're saying.
Like they actually put themselves in position.
They're calling
for that to happen. You know what I mean? It's like you basically put yourself right in that corner. You know what I mean? Because you thinking about the corner so much that you put yourself right in the motherfucker, right in the path of danger.
Yeah, and that's the universe. It doesn't pick a side. It doesn't. It
doesn't care.
It's not.
We can't hear.
Sorry about that. Yeah, the universe is not really concerned with people's feelings and shit like that. It's a mechanic. So the shit that you send out, it's just gonna fold and bend to your will and create that reality. Like in the Kabbalion, it talks about the universe is mental. So the phenomenal reality that you see out of your eyes, it's personal, and that's your reality, how you see it. So if you see your life is fucked up, then the universe is going to oblige you. If you see yourself as having lack thereof, the universe is going to oblige you. It's not something that's going to pick sides or feel sorry, because that's not how it's designed. It's just a thing that bends to our will based on consciousness,
perception, all that.
All of that balled up into one big ball. And if you by default are walking around here not being conscious simply means being aware. If you're not aware of your thoughts and what you're projecting outward or even receiving in, then you're a slave to all this shit that's going on around you, and it's just beating you up, and you're subjected to it, and you're asking why me and stuff like that.
Times, like if I don't catch every thought, but if I feel myself like going negative direction, I like do things to kind of raise my vibration. You know what I mean? Like I'll put on art with mantras or something. But usually a lot of times, even if I'll say something negative, I like retract it back. Like, no, like, you know what I mean? Like I just kind of retract it back, because just not to kind of go in that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've done that too. Like, let me not say that. Let me go ahead and you have to consciously send something out behind that to neutralize that.
Mm-hmm.
Shit, I talk to myself. Like if I even if I say something bad about somebody or how they look at anything, I'm like, man, shut your punk ass up. You sound like a fucking bitch. I've been talking to myself like that. Shut your ass up, nigga. I'm saying, yo, do that though, because I always thought I was like, no, Pop, shut
I think all conscious individuals, aware individuals, talk to themselves. There's no way for you to be in tune with self and not talk to self. That's just that shit don't even go together.
Like, don't,
You know.
you always think to myself, like, man, shut the fuck, yo, you stupid as hell, yo. You know, I just be talking to yourself, like, don't even think like that. I don't even do no dumb shit like that, man. Oh, you
And see, there's nothing wrong with that. And here's the reason why you're talking that way. Because this is the language that your higher self recognizes from you. That's why you use that verbiage. Another person like, damn, why he talking like that? Why he saying harsh things to himself? This is the language that you resonate with, and you have to use that language as an energy signature for you to be able to communicate with your higher self. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Oh yeah. It definitely, I'm definitely.
But there's a message. And ultimately, in all the shit you just said, there's a message that you ultimately understand. Let me change whatever it is I'm thinking or doing because it's not good. Bottom line.
Like, who the fuck are you? You ever say that to yourself? Who the fuck are you? I said, who the fuck are you to say something like that to anybody? Who the fuck do you think you are?
Questioning. Analyzation is definitely but yeah, going back to, like, you have a lot of ancient cultures who they utilize rituals, they utilize different herbs, they utilize sigils. A sigil is like a drawing that you would draw on a wall or something. Actually, a sigil is like a word where you would get rid of all the vowels and you take the letters that's left over and you will formulate a symbol. And that symbol would be, you looked at it, let's say you put I love you, right? You wrote it out. And you would get rid of all the vowels, and then you would take the letters that's left over and you would create a symbol out of it. Now, that symbol still means I love you in your subconscious mind. And you will be able to put that symbol somewhere or put it on things or whatever it is. You can put, money come to me, or I am healthy, or whatever the case may be. But that sigil is to program your subconscious mind on what you're commanding it from the universe to do. That's how sigils become powerful symbols. You can either take that sigil and get rid of it, or you can write it down and hang it on the wall. You can do whatever you want to do with it, but it's no different than you putting up a picture that says, I am woman, hear me roar. I am beauty. Love thyself.
It's right on mirrors.
Huh?
I have a mirror and I write all over it. Like,
you can write on whatever. Mirrors are portals, but that's a whole other conversation.
Yes.
But yeah. So energy, regardless of what people call it, if they want to say God, if they want to say Jesus, they want to say Buddha, no matter what you call it, it's still something that moves in creation, regardless of how you dress it up. And you still have to put forth effort to channel that energy, regardless of what you want to call it, because it does not matter what you call it or what your faith is. It's still energy in motion. And that energy is going to work regardless, depending on your intent. Now, if you're not aware, then you can become a victim of bad things, of people sending your way. That's why a lot of people, I know people who, they don't watch the news because the energy coming from the news is just negative. And that shit fucks with your reality.
I don't watch.
They can be scared to leave their house.
Sometimes I'm like I do just what you're saying. Like, I do home visits. Like, I see my patients and I go to their homes, and my mom always tells me, like, every time you leave somebody's house, you shake that energy off of you, but most of my news is when I'm walking into somebody's house and the news is on and they're like, oh, did you see what happened? I'm like, no. Oh, this happened 3 days ago. How could you not see it? I'm like, I don't watch the news.
Yeah.
I
tell mom. Go ahead.
But now they're trying to send messages to us through commercials now, even worse now. Now they're using commercials. You know what I mean?
How about the one you told me about today?
The kid said all he wanted for Christmas was a COVID vaccine shot. That's disrespectful, man. That's disrespectful to me, to young kids, to everybody kids. They want your kids to actually feed into that shit. It's like they try to separate the kids' decisions from the parents.
Oh my God. When he told me that, I was rolling like, what?
Well, you need to see that commercial, man. Did you find it yet? We should be able to find it.
All I want for Christmas. Yo. That's bugged out. That's energy weapons, man. That's energy. That's you know, programming subconscious minds. Got to be careful with that. Yeah, I have to tell my mom, stop watching the news, man. Just stop watching the news.
If something was gonna take off, you know, go, I would probably be the one standing around like, what's going on? Where y'all going? Where's everybody going? Because I don't at all, like literally nothing, no news, none.
I think what they're trying to do is they're trying to separate the power of the parent from the child with commercials like that. They're trying to see what's in the child's best safety or to override the parent.
That's insane.
That
is, I can't do nothing but laugh at that, man. Yeah. I can't. That's bad, but I mean, yeah.
Who lets that shit foul, bro? It's getting real blunt now, man. It's getting real blunt, man.
Well, all I gotta say is, when situations like this override logic by any means necessary, when they start to do things that defy common sense, then if you still are not in a space of being aware enough to know that something nefarious may be going on, then you are collateral damage. And I don't attach emotions to those people. Those people are what they are. I can only ultimately be responsible for me, when it's all said and done. But as a person who's trying to be a light bearer, light is something that people are drawn to in darkness. So people will find you. You don't have to go out and find them. That's what light does. So when they're in the darkness of their minds and they're seeking and searching, they'll find a light and be drawn to it and so forth and so on. Get what they need and move on. Or they become light themselves and then they become a beacon for somebody else. And that's how we all, each one, teach one. So yeah, that's
the evil will take over, and you just rather get your neck cut off than be wrong.
It is what it is. I mean, I can't even worry about that. I can't. That's just the time we in. You just. I mean, I had a discussion with somebody like 2 days ago, and I was like, right now, the signal is being sent out universally throughout this whole planet. Everybody has the ability to hear that message or that signal. Everybody is not going to be able to hear that signal. Only those who are able to hear will get the instructions. I just have to leave it at that. So
no, sure.
It is what it is. It is what it is. What are you eating? What is that?
It's a protein bar, man.
I hate protein bars. Ugh.
Yeah, me too, but this one is a good one.
Cardboard. Maybe hard.
This one is actually good. They cheated with this. This is no good for you. I know it isn't. It tastes just good. This thing is too damn good.
Yeah, when it tastes good, you know it's bad.
It's caramel something, and it tastes like caramel and whatever is in it. It's pretty damn good. I'm just eating it because I'm trying to get some energy in me, man. Something.
I feel you. But yeah, man, energy can kill you. People talk about the evil eye. Yeah, energy can kill you. People talk about the evil eye, and food is compacted energy. But I think we discussed that in the previous show, that once you eat the food is broken down to its molecular structure, and we use it as energy for the body. Blah, 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 which is important because melanated beings, we require certain things for our bodies to operate at an optimal level. So energy wise, this is why Dr. Sebi was very on point with his system of healing, because his system catered to our biology and what we needed to function at a high level. And that, at the end of the day, was all based on energy. What type of herb, what nutrition, electric food was going to give us the proper amount of energy to run this machine as a melanated being? And that's what works for us. It's all energy. It's all going to always be brought back to energy and how you're using it. So that's very important. Back to how things can harm you. Like people talk about the evil eye, right? And people say, why do you wear this and why do you wear that? And I explain to them, it's just it's compacted energy that is used to deflect energy. How does that work? Well, there's people, whether you know them or not, that don't have your best interest.
That's so true.
They're going to say things. They're going to think things. They're going to have whole rants in their private space about you. And that is energy that is directed towards you, and it's coming your way. The thing is, what are you doing? If you're unaware, what are you doing to block that? Some people pray. Prayer is another form of energy that you can use to block things, manifest things. And keep in mind, we're using words to describe the process. So when prayer is used, people automatically go to religion. And prayer has nothing to do with religion itself or particular religion itself. Prayer is just simply a process of you formally going within yourself, right, formalizing whatever your intent is going to be, and sending it in a particular direction. That's it. And you may have a name for where you're sending it. You may not have a name for where you're sending it. But it's just focused intent. That's what prayer is. You may get in a car and be like, okay, I'm about to take my driving test. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. Everything's going to be good, going to be smooth, and I'm going to get my license. That's directed energy. And you put intent out there. Now the universe has to bend to that to make sure that happens. That's prayer, so to speak.
Or maybe you just open your mind and see how simple it is, and do what you got to do, and not make it complicated. Because most of the things that we do, we make it complicated. We were taught to look at things in like a complicated situation than just look at it in simplicity. So
because it's unknown. I had an epiphany today. People fear the unknown, but it's not really a bad thing. It kind of keeps us on point. But if you got in the car and said to yourself, I got this, that's intent. That's energy sent in a particular direction. So it all depends on how you interface with it. All I'm saying is a lot of people are victims to, and we throw around this word a lot, why you hating and why you, and all this jazz. But the bottom line is true hate causes harm whether you know it or not. Because it's directed energy. That's why I really don't know too many people formally that hate me or have ill towards me, because I just don't really want to deal with that type of energy. But I do what I need to do to keep stuff like that at bay and stay out of those circles. So she's right about people touching you, going in homes, eating food.
That's what they call the vampire stuff.
What you say?
Not a vampire in your house. You shouldn't welcome a vampire in your house.
Well, vampires are nothing but energy that is going to feed off of you. That's all what a vampire is. They feed off your energy until they take the host, feed off of them enough until you have nothing left, and you just wind up doing something insane. Like, I don't want to be here no more. Just, you have the energy vampires are real. They're real.
Yeah, for sure.
They are real.
Vampire energy?
Yes. The energy vampires, people who pull and suck from you consistently all the time. They drain you. Just being around them is a drag. Like, they're always pulling from you.
It's so
energy
funny.
vampires.
You know what that reminds me of? Like I don't even talk on the phone and like if we're not talking about anything constructive, like, you know, properties or, you know, stocks or whatever it is, then I don't want to, you know, talk about it. Like I can't even tell you the last time I heard a piece of gossip. But it's like somebody calling you to tell you, oh, this happened, I lost my job, this happened, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You know, you might be in a fantastic mood and you get off the phone with them. They're like, thank you for talking to me. Oh, I feel so much better. And then now you feel like shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Energy vampires. And I'm not saying, and let me put this out here. I'm not saying it's not good to support someone and listen to it. I'm saying the person that's consistently always
and
doing this.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Well, we all go through mood swings during the day. It might not be, you know, shown from a person, but I'm just saying though, you can, like I said, there's certain times of the day where you can come to a person and they'll be nice as hell and be happy as hell. You come to them at a different time. I'm just saying we all go through these levels during the day.
No, but what I'm saying is those people that always like nothing is ever right for them. Like
but there's a time that person called you though.
Again.
Go ahead.
No, it don't matter what time they call. They still gonna be on some. What
I'm
was
saying,
me?
but if you're in that mood, but sometimes if they catch you in the right mood, that's what I'm saying. Like we all go through like different levels of mood during the hours of the day.
I'm gonna tell you now, Lawrence. I'm gonna tell you now. If I called you every day for a week, not even every day, but just called you consistently for a month.
Oh no! You.
And I'm asking you. I'm asking you for shit, and I'm complaining. I'm telling this nigga gonna start dodging my conversations, man. He ain't gonna pick up the phone. Like, damn, that's trash.
That's like a person that always want to ride or something, man. You go down the street and you go somewhere
else. So you just dodging, like motherfucker. That nigga want to ride.
And you see the same person begging for food out there, you just keep going because you don't feel like saying no or anything. You just go to another.
Energy vampire, man. Instead of just changing your situation, you just want to leech off other people. That's an energy vampire.
Yeah, you drag the shit out.
And no matter what time of day they catch you, Pot, you don't want to deal with that shit because you already know the story.
But then there's some days if you see that person, like, hey, take this and get the fuck out of my face. Like, take this $2 or something like that. You know what I mean? It's like you kind of pretend. It's like you pretend that you know what I mean? Like, yeah, get the fuck out of my face,
dude. Something wrong with you, man.
You know what my mom used to do? She'll just toss you over to the motherfucker. My mom don't want to hear the motherfucker. She'll try to put you in the category so she can get off. Oh yeah, talk to me. Like, yeah, don't you want me?
Oh my God. You are a fool, man.
Yeah, man, my mom used to do that all the time, man. Hand me the goddamn phone. You know, when she be on the phone, she be talking and shit, you come down, whatever, and you about to, you know, cook you something like, you wanna talk to Pot? Yeah, Pot. I'm like, nah, hell no. Nah, you ain't even gonna do that for me, yo. You ain't even gonna do it. It's like, shit, you nigga in that shit, man. Like, nah, man. Now, I understand what you're saying, but there is periods of day where we are open to have a good conversation with a person.
Yeah, I'll say that. I mean, I don't have too many bad times where you can not ask me shit, but I get what you're saying.
Man. Your time, because we all got our personal space, and we got time for people. Like we have these little times during the day where we can deal with an individual, and when we don't want to be bothered with no fucking body. So that's what I'm saying. So if a person coming at a certain hour, like he a mean motherfucker, then another person, nah, he nice as hell when I see him. So it's like it's just you know, it depends on when you want to see him because you could be a nice person.
I'm a little different. I get what you're saying. I agree. My personality is a little different because I'm always gonna take things to another level when I'm dealing with people and why the universe has even sent the person my way in the first place. I'm always gonna take it a step further. Now there is individuals that I've come across that I've dealt with, and they had that vampire-like thing, and I avoid them because I don't feel like. I put it this way, I get what you're saying, but my thing is, I do have times where I would just answer the phone and deal with them, and sometimes I'd be like, nah, I ain't gonna answer because I know it's just gonna drain my energy.
Right.
So I agree, but I don't think it has anything to do with my mood. Well, maybe you're right. Maybe they just caught me at a time where I'm like, fuck it, and that's exactly how I be. Like, you know what? I'm gonna answer this time. See what they talking about. So, and keep in mind, I'm the person that everybody asks a lot of questions, man. So keep in mind, and that's not shade, Jay. That's not shade. What I'm saying is,
you are.
I love questions. If you got a really good question, I'm always open for that because I like to build. That's just what I do.
That's like me with my
fucking coupons and did you try this ointment cream? It's so I don't know. Goofy shit.
It's like me. If you talk about cars, martial arts, I'm in it. I'm always got conversations with that.
Yeah.
When you wake me up at 3 a.m. and talk about let's go and throw some kicks or something about some this and that, and I'm ready, dog. But if you come talking like you said about some shit that I don't even deal with, you got an issue. You're gonna have issues.
So yeah, man. And that's energy again because your vibration is moving at a certain speed. When you come across people who can match your vibration, there is no friction. It's almost like if I told you to walk through a portal. That portal, the doorway of that portal is vibrating so fast that if you don't speed up your vibration, you can't pass through that portal. If you try to pass through that portal and your vibration is not fast enough, it's going to shred you to little bits, right? But if you can speed up your vibration enough to match it, you can walk right through it. So there's people that you can deal with because your vibrations match.
Right.
They're along the lines. But then you got some people who have a lower frequency, and it's like you have to slow your shit down to deal with it.
I do that all the time now, especially even when you're talking about a lot of certain shit. Like people. We're talking about so much shit. You don't mind, but then they ask you the crazy question. What do you think? After you bring yourself down, they ask you something that now you hear. You know what I mean? Like you back up where you was before because you're giving them a real answer.
You're right. And here's the thing. I tell people, and I have no problem with doing this. Don't ask me questions that you're not sincerely wanting to know the answer on what I'm going to give. If you just being nosy like most black people are, they just want to push your buttons just to see what the fuck you're going to say and debate with you. But don't ask me motherfucking questions you don't want to know the answer to. And I won't answer them. And I got that from some of my good teachers because I used to be in class when I was going through my second initiation, we would all be in class and he would be expounding on something. And you got your advanced students, and then you got your students who they whatever. But he can be building on something that's really advanced. And then you got that one student that's going to raise their hand and ask about some shit that y'all covered 6 months ago. And he got to slow everything down to answer that shit. But you can't front on it because it's an honest, legitimate question.
Right.
But then for the advanced students who want to push the teacher and go further and ask certain questions, my teacher used to tell us, there's going to be some questions y'all going to ask, I'm just not going to answer. And it's not that I don't want to answer, it's like you're not ready. I will cause more harm to your progress if I gave you the answer to that question. So you're going to have to wait. That's not being egotistical. It's just there's certain information that given to a person who's not ready to receive is going to cause more harm than good. And that's how I treat some people, because I know for a fact if I get into talking about X, Y, and Z and really going there, it's just not going to be good. And egotistically, a lot of people will debate you on that. Well, how you know I won't understand that? How you know I ain't ready? They want to. That's the ego. That's the ego. The fact that we're sitting here talking about 1 + 1 is 2 and debating that shit, I know you ain't gonna deal with blah 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 what I'm about to put in your lap.
Right.
And then I'll go, you know what? Matter of fact, what is blah blah blah? Have you ever heard of it? Nah. With the fact that you don't know that, we ain't going no further. So you got to gauge people's intent, and you got to gauge their level, and that's how you teach. You have to teach them where they are. You just don't be putting in their lap all types of shit, especially when you're talking about God. Imagine this.
My gosh.
You take the God concept from a lot of religious folk and strip them of that. Take it all away. Prove to them definitively that it does not exist without a shadow of a doubt. People will lose their minds. What else do I have? They'll be out here wilding out. So they need that for their sanity. So there's just certain things that people came here in certain programs and certain energy frequencies that are conducive for their incarnation. And we're not here to disrupt that. So I ain't trying to change nothing. I'm trying to add on.
I used to trying to explain to people or make things make sense to people, and they just weren't like, and I was more so getting myself frustrated trying to make them understand, and they really weren't. So now you just kind of meet people where they are. It is what it is.
You have to. You have to. You got no choice. You have to, because they will beat your ass.
This is true. I got time to be going through all that.
You don't believe in God? That's what I said. Like, you know, people ask the wrong questions, dog. Like, you know, you listen to this shit. Now, what's your opinion? Why do you feel like, well, you don't believe in God? I don't play that. We don't play that shit. And it's like,
yeah. Them people be in the back lighting fucking torches and shit, ready to burn your ass up, nigga.
Yo, I used to be in Shamika house around her whole family, and they all was church people. You know what I mean? Ask a damn question, dog. They all just, the whole room just quiet up, man. Like, you know, once they figure I was on the other side of the world, you know what I mean? Like, you know, the same thing. You know, God, you did. I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could do that. You know what I mean? They just, you know, it's like, wow.
Yeah. And see, I know how it would be for you, because you have a very unorthodox, blunt way of putting things. I'm a little charismatic, and I can put it together where it just makes sense, and they be like, oh, okay. Because that's how I deal with a lot of my family, because a lot of my family are religious. And I talk to them, and we build and we talk, but I have a way of packaging up things where it sounds exactly the same as their stuff. You know, I have a way of doing that. So we good.
Like,
what'd you say?
Like pot, like I don't want to go, because I don't think, you know, like, and I'm not as blunt as he is, but like I'm pretty much a say what you mean and mean what you say, and that's it. Like, if I like it, I like it. If I don't, then what do you want me to do? You know what I mean? So good at that. Like, you just kind of like smooth it. You lay it down nicely.
Had my ass up in church one time. I wasn't invited to go to church anymore.
What?
I was up in church one time. This is back, you know the relationship stuff when you trying to.
Your ass was in church?
Yeah, I was in church. This was back there. This was like maybe 15 years ago, something like that. Maybe 16 years ago. But I didn't go to church as a church person. I go to church to make that person happy.
Oh, I get it, nigga. But I'm just saying, your ass was in church.
Saying, but being in church, you could just. You can't, like, it's like you just sitting there. She can hear you talking, mumbling. I'm just saying, like, I'm just listening to everything he's saying, and I'm just got an answer for everything that the guy was saying, the preacher, whatever, man. You know what I mean? So that
That stopped going to church. I mean, because I was at one point going to church. Like, that's literally what made me stop going to church. I was like, I can't. Like, I
can't do it. You can't do it. I can't do it, man. Because like I'm questioning everything, and then I'm saying like, really, like you just said that. Like, what about this and that? So people don't like that, and people would. To me, that I hate getting on that concept, but that whole thing is, man, it's just teaching you to like I said, it's a manual for control. It's to keep you focused on that. Why the other shit going, why they do what they do, you know what I mean? Period. It's like it's a slave man's manual. That's what I call it. I call it a slave manual. You read that book and it puts you in a trance.
Questioning everything and just saying like, doesn't make sense. Wouldn't it go like? I was like, I can't like.
Now here's the thing about that particular frequency. It's energy. Let's always go back to energy. That energy matches the individual who's locked into that, matches their frequency. That's where they're comfortable there. You can't be comfortable in a frequency that's not aligned with yours. That's why you can go to places like that and not be comfortable and be like, you know what, let me get out of here. Or this ain't for me, because your vibration is different. It's all about vibration. Now, we attach names to a vibration. We attach faces to vibrations. We put places to vibrations. The bottom line is it's all energy. So when your frequency is raised, there's no reason for you to be in a low frequency environment called monotheistic religion.
Right.
Has nothing to do with the religion. Your frequency is too high to be there. You need to deal with something higher. It's not even up for debate, because if you debate it, now you're debating information. You're debating faith. You're debating belief. That shit can go on forever.
Yeah,
but when you just look at it from you can't really win that debate. I mean, you could if you are you on your scholarly game, if you really know your shit. But the bottom line is the app,
they're not going to allow, no matter what you do or what you say. Like you said, you can put it in front of their face. You can show them. Even the book itself could come alive and be like, "Yo, this is what I am." Oh no, you're not. No, you're not.
You're right.
It's like that. It's like that strong to the point where even your master can tell you, "Yo, I'm a devil. I'm an evil person. Yeah, this is all to keep you." I don't believe that shit. We don't believe that shit. Praise
because you're talking about, at the end of the day, I'm gonna say it again. What I'm about to say, Jay.
I don't even know.
Energy.
Oh,
it's all energy. And energy is a frequency.
Yeah.
And if the people in the congregation have the same frequency as that religion, that's where they are comfortable. Has nothing to do with the information, has nothing to do if it's right or wrong. It's a comfortable frequency.
Right.
It's energy. You can debate if the shit's right or wrong all day long, but if they're comfortable in that frequency, that's where they're going to be. Has nothing to do with all that other stuff.
Being comfortable too. You know, like you said, comfortable. Sometimes it works for people who depend on something to work for them instead of them putting in any effort. It's just much easier to let the spook handle your future instead of you standing up and making your future. You know what I mean? So I always looked at it as that way too. It's like a way of keeping you oppressed or suppressed, whatever the hell you want to call it. Keep you,
say, Jay?
Listening to you guys, I was just thinking to myself, like, I don't even remember when, because I was raised going to church, and
me too.
I was still going.
I was on it like, from day one.
Started taking my children, but I don't even remember like what caused the click, or what, just like it's just after. Oh well, yeah. Energy.
You grew up, your mind, like it's, some of us are curious, and some of us start seeing things like, you don't realize that through time again, through experience and how the world works and how things seem to appear all the time, never in your favor, you start realizing that Superman ain't never did shit for you or anybody else. But you're going to keep on praising Superman like he really standing here lifting up buildings. And he ain't never lifted a building in front of you. He never even showed his damn face, but you put your life on it. You know what I mean?
And that's happening in your mind, right?
Right.
So what is that?
No, I'm saying that people somehow are more with the fantasy part. They take the fantasy much seriouser than what's actually happening in front of their face. They'd rather be blinded by fantasy, by dreaming. You know, dreams, we sleep and we rest. And we're comfortable with our dreams. You know what I mean?
So my question is this. Where is it all taking place?
All over the goddamn world.
Now.
No. Where is it all taking place? This thing that you're explaining, where is it taking place to the individual? You in school, nigga. Get it right. In the mind.
I'm just saying, but still, it's like they put that.
No matter where they put it and how it gets to you, it's all processed in the mind.
Right. So they suppress themselves from breaking the shackles around them because they feel that somebody else is going to come and break it for them. So
where does that take place?
Huh?
Where does that take place?
In the mind. Right.
Exactly. It's all energy, brother. That's all energy.
But that's the reason why, to me, the world is the way it is today, because people basically want something to make something happen for them instead of them making it happen themselves. So
I don't think the world. This is going to be controversial, but I don't think the world is out of order.
I don't think it is either, because nobody's going to be punished or nobody's going to. It does what it wants to do anyway. And I mean, the shit that's put it this way: if I believe in what you're giving me, that's not your fault. That's my fucking fault. You know what I mean? So if I ain't conscious enough to see through you or even investigate everything you're doing to me or even try to think about if you're doing me wrong, that's my fucking problem if I burn in shit. You know what I mean? Somebody, you know, if it, you know, that's my issue. That's my problem. That's not your problem. If you con me into any, that is not your problem. You are responsible for your stupidity and your choices. So if you want to make the wrong choices, then you will be punished the way it goes.
But what if the universe wants it all? The universe wants it all, regardless of what it is. The universe wants it all.
The universe, you know what the universe wants? I'm going to tell you what the universe wants. If it ever wanted anything.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
What
would you do for a Klondike bar, face ass?
I'm gonna tell you what it wants. It wants dominance. It wants dominance.
The universe wants dominance over what?
And it's not over what. It wants dominance to the point where it wants the strongest, because the strongest, the smartest is the ones that prevail in this puzzle. So
the universe wants. So the universe wants winners?
Not that it wants winners, but the one who uses the tools of it the best to prevail, it somehow works for them. That's what I'm trying to say. It's like it's not a bad or a good thing. It's the fact that it just wants dominance.
Okay, so something that you threw in there right quick. Something that you threw in there right quick that I don't think you was aware of. But you said the universe works for them. Meaning the universe what? Meaning what?
Meaning when they say certain things, like for instance, the people who run this whole thing or whatever runs this whole thing, it got us out here doing whatever we're doing to work for it to make it what it is. The universe, not saying that the universe is actually, but the universe is more of an energy thing. It's more like a it's gonna work to the strongest power. So if a person's putting out enough power to generate what's going on now, or whatever they're doing to generate, they are generating so much power that they controlling all of this.
Okay.
That's what I'm trying to say. So
Okay,
it doesn't
let me-
care if it's bad or good. It's just gonna
Okay.
go on the strong side.
Okay. So let me take what you just said and clean it up.
Yeah, clean it up with your brooms.
And I did a I did a lecture on this, man, called "Change Your Mind, Change Your Reality." I don't know if you saw that, Jay. That's one of my old ones. Change Your Mind, Change Your Reality. So, from what I researched and from what I was taught, human beings, most of us on planet Earth, and I'm going into my mind, so I'm gonna have to look off and try to retrieve all this shit. The universe basically is there. We are part of it. We are it. And based on our collective consciousness, it forms and bends to our will. The problem, or the challenge, I'm not gonna say a problem, but the challenge is our subconscious mind has been hijacked, right? There are players that have spyware running on our hard drives, which is our subconscious mind. And if the universe is mental, based on the teachings of the Kabbalion, that means that if a person can hijack your subconscious mind and program it, they also hijack the universe by default to create a reality that they want, not a reality that you want. So collectively, man is creating this very troubled, chaotic system
Right.
that we have by default, because there's somebody in the background that's influencing your subconscious mind with programming. And by default, we are creating this chaotic reality out of fear and lack thereof, whether it be money, food, resources, whatever. The universe is just doing its job of abiding to the dominant thought of the planet. So, example, if you can create enough fear in people and them being afraid of something, the universe by default creates that reality for the whole planet, because the whole planet is in fear. Not because they want to be in fear, because somebody in the background is manipulating their subconscious mind for them to be in fear, and then the universe by default creates the reality of fear. So somebody is manipulating our perception, and the universe is creating it by default. Make sense?
Makes sense.
It's like, you know, an analogy, sort of, kind of. It's like when December rolls around and everybody has the Christmas spirit. Isn't that's like energy?
Yes.
Right.
Yes, you can feel it.
February or January comes and nobody gives a shit about anything.
True.
All of those kind gestures and everything is like out the
Ain't
window.
that weird how we work? It's embarrassing.
That's a great example of how energy is manipulated.
Exactly.
And we, by our manipulation, create a vibe that we can actually feel in the air.
Uh-huh.
That's some real shit.
Yeah. And then January comes and everybody's like, you know?
And it's not that the powers that be are forcing us, but they've now programmed us to create this reality that they want, and we're a slave to it by default.
So what you're saying, it works to the power, the stronger powers. It works no matter
They're
what.
They're not even the strongest. They're not the strongest. It's just when you look at the system that they have in place, and the biggest machine that they have to pull this off is media. That is the only thing that they have that pulls this whole thing off is media.
It's a part of the unit. The media is still is still an energy thing. So what I'm just trying to say is, who controls everything gets more power and energy. The universe has no problem giving it to him. That's what I'm trying to say.
Exactly.
Like,
that's true.
So they're not going to be punished for it unless somebody change that. You know what I mean? No,
So
they can
let me
easily.
add on to that. The reason why they won't be punished is
Because
because,
it's
and
your fault.
you gotta understand this, how karma works. They've always shown us
The
what
truth.
they're going to
Yeah.
do to us, whether they put it in a book, put it in a movie, TV show, commercial, motion picture, whatever. They've always shown you what they're going to do, which means you were told what's going to happen to you. Whether you believe this shit or not, that's not their concern. The universe is only concerned with the fact that if I do something to you and you're not aware of it, there's a karmic debt to be paid because of that. But if I say, look, I'm going to punch you in the face, and you sitting there and I punch you in the face, here's the thing. You got to deal with cause and effect. Maybe you'll punch me back, maybe you won't. But the bottom line is, there's no karma that's going to come from that because I told you what I was going to do. Your job is to respond.
Right.
So when you see movies about outbreak, it's entertainment. No, we're giving you the blueprint. So when we really do this shit to y'all, the universe is not going to punish us. We told you what we was going to do. You let us do this.
I got a perfect example of energy. Avatar.
Which one?
The movie.
The movie? Yeah. Their whole life was based on energy.
Energy. Everything.
Their culture, everything was based on energy.
They're taking them to underwater for the next one. They're going to be underwater.
It's so deep.
The next one going to be underwater.
And they had a culture where you could not, there was nobody, all the way down to the animals. You couldn't break that circle of energy. If you killed something, then you had to, pray for it. You had to give thanks. You had to do all of that to make it right.
Right.
You couldn't disturb the force any kind of way because the energy had to flow in a certain manner. It stabilized their entire culture because of that. It was all energy, and they were all connected to everything: the trees, the plants, everything. The food. Yeah, all energy. Fuck. So at the end of the day, all of this shit is energy. I just tell people, look, the bottom line is, if you're not aware of how energy works, you're going to be a victim of it. That's just the bottom line. You're going to be a victim of it, whether you know it or not. On the simplest shit of somebody getting on social media and saying, fuck you, and I hope this and I hope that, they just sending shit your way. You don't even realize it because we brush it off like, whatever, blah, I ain't worried about you. And that's not how the universe works. That's not how the universe works. The universe has to bend to that person's will to try to manifest that. Your job is to block that, counter it. You got to counter that energy. Or become a victim of it.
But that still falls in that thing. It's gonna go with the strongest move. It's gonna go with the strongest flow.
It is. It's gonna go with the strongest flow
for your ass. It ain't gonna do none of that stuff. Like, I'm gonna make it better for you. No, nigga, you gotta make it better. You gotta come with a counterattack, motherfucker.
And this is how root work. This is how certain traditions. This is how that system works. It works in a flow of energy. And people say, well, if I don't believe in it, it don't work. And it's simply not true. The thing is, it may not affect a person on the surface who's very strong-willed. Having a strong will is a form of an energetic force field. It keeps shit away from you because you have a very strong will. For somebody who's weak and things get sent your way, especially on that level of just root work and, rituals and things like that, it's all a manipulation of energy. Don't get me wrong. And we all do things like that, whether we know it or not. We just have fancy names for it, but we all participate in that type of work, whether we know it or not. The fact that you can say something hateful to a person is work. But we don't want to hear that. We think the people y'all can hear me? Yeah, we think the people in the bayou somewhere, cooking up herbs and things, those are the ones who are only doing such and such, whether it be good or bad. But the bottom line is the everyday person can fuck you up by sending energy your way. That's not good.
Very true.
Whether you know it or not. That's why I tell people, especially for me, I like to be informed on all aspects of how energy works, regardless of the tradition. I study it all. I want to know because a well prepared person knows when they enter into a space what to look for and what to avoid. I always say that. I can go to a person's house and I can look around and I can tell if they do this, they do that, blah, 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 boom, 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 just by observing certain things. But for the person who's not acclimated to all of that, the only thing they have to fall on is their will. And if they're not a strong-willed person, they can become victim of things very easily. So energy at the end of the day is the shit that people need to get in tune with, but regardless of what you want to call it. Now, if you're a Christian and you're praying to Jesus, that's energy. And if your faith is strong and you dedicated and you fasting and you're putting in time with Jesus, that shit works. Regardless of what you call it, it's energy at the end of the day. I digress. Go ahead, Jay.
You ever walk to a room and it's just like thick? The energy is just kind of thick. Like people are in there and you walk in and you're like, and it's just thick.
Yeah. Yep.
Thick.
That's why I'd be like, I'll wait outside or blah, blah, blah. Or there's certain places I go. There's certain things you should have on your persons and because it's just you just got to be prepared. This is the world we live in. This is
because I was that person like, oh, that's nonsense. That blah blah blah. That's when I first moved to Florida, and boy, was I in for a rude awakening. I learned so much stuff, like experiences and just listening, and I learned so much stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, but here's the thing. In the new age, and I know when people hear that term, they think of the corny, new age with the white folks and all that. I'm saying leaving Pisces and going into Aquarius, being that we're in a new cycle, things like this is becoming to the forefront. Because we live in an energetic universe. And being that it's coming to the forefront, is now time for us to get acclimated to this stuff very fast. And believe it or not, this is going to be some of the things that we're going to need moving forward when dealing with some of the things that's coming down the pipe. Whether you want to accept that reality or not, I'm not here to make that call. But I know you're going to have to be well prepared going forward in your energetic or spiritual fortitude, because there's a battle coming down the pipe on an energetic level. It is what it is. What'd you say?
The movie, I was watching a movie. Oh, the Tubman, Harriet, the movie about Harriet.
Oh, funny you should bring that up because somebody mentioned that today. I told them to go watch it. But go ahead.
What'd you say?
That movie came up today because I told someone to go watch it maybe like 2 days ago, because I was talking about in the very near future we're going to need to be, there's going to be people who, let me rewind. The message goes out to everyone on the planet. There's only going to be a few who's able to receive the message. And they have to be open to receive it. And when you get the message, it's going to have instructions. And with those instructions, there's things that you're going to have to do. They didn't quite understand what I was saying. So I told them, go watch that movie. Because this person that I told to go watch it, they're very religious. And they went and watched the movie and they came back and said, yeah, you were right. And I said, that's exactly what I was trying to convey. And I said, all those people who proclaim themselves to be quote unquote saved, those are not going to be the people that you think are going to be chosen for what's coming down the pipe. Everybody that got their seat up front and they go to church and they pay their tithes and they do all that jazz, and it's going to be to the most uncommon DCR type cats. The ones you look at and be like, not that nigga. No, that's where the information is going. The person you would not think. Not affiliated with nothing, not proclaiming. It's going to those people. But anyway.
This is a little off topic, but not really off topic because it's still kind of like energy. The moon. Are you guys like fascinated with the moon, or like?
It looks like a light bulb to me. It looks like a light bulb to me sticking out. You ever like? I mean, I used to go to the beach late at night, and I look at it. I'm really the moon look. I don't know if the moon is they say it is beautiful and everything, but it looks like a goddamn light bulb. Like they turn it on at night.
You're right. It does look like a light bulb, but yeah, we'll have to do a show on moon energy because it's very important, and it has a lot to do. Yeah, the moon is like super important. Super important.
Is the moon man-made? Is the sun man-made?
When you say man-made, well, the moon is a satellite. And when you hear the term satellite, you automatically think the shits we send up in space. No. A satellite, a satellite is a companion object that's caught in the gravitational pull of the bigger object. So the moon is a satellite to Earth. It's caught in the gravitational pull of the planet. And it's positioned there because the planet Earth is bigger than the moon, but the moon actually was a part of some other shit that got broke off.
What if it really is a light bulb, though?
What you say?
Where's the big ass light bulb? What if it's just a big ass light bulb and the sun is one too? Like, what if they shaded the whole like the truth beyond space? Because none of us never been in space. None of us never been there before. What if this is all like
you watch the Truman Show?
Yeah, I watched the Truman Show, but what if it is like that though? What if the Truman Show was telling you something? You know what I mean?
The Truman Show was telling you something. That's one of my favorite shits though. That shit crazy.
What? Because the moon really be looking like a light bulb to me, bro. Like one night I was laying down, like that motherfucker don't like no moon, man. It look like a big ass light bulb. I mean, clear as day. It looked like a light bulb, dog.
Because that's the illumination. That's the illumination of the moon that makes it look like that, which is a very unique phenomenon.
I have this fascination with the sky, but the moon.
Yeah. The moon. They would have to have a whole show on the moon, and it's very important that you tap into those energies when that moon is full too. Very important.
Man, I used to go to that beach at 3 a.m, lay down on that sand by myself on the whole entire Bradley Beach by myself. And listen to the waves and watch naked girls run by and stuff like that. But it used to be a beautiful thing. Yo, females, I'll do some crazy stuff late at night. But that's how it was being at the beach. Like if I'm out there at the beach, a couple of naked girls running out the water and stuff like that. Like, okay, whatever. But
you ever been out there during a full moon when it's really like full and big?
We spent a lot of time out there until we got invaded to famous beaches and all that stuff. Now they got all these rules and stuff. You got to be off the beach at certain times at night and stuff like that. We ain't got the freedom we used to have. You know what I mean? That shit is gone. But gone now. But back when I used to go out there just to meditate, I call that a state of meditation. Just going out there in the ocean by. And you know what the funny thing about it is? When I go out there at 2 a.m, whatever, what is it? 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning when I was out there, I always ran into conscious people. It was always conscious people like here and there, like by themselves. You know what I mean? So it was like kind of, you just like walk past each other, say a couple of words and stuff. You know what I mean? But it was like, it's always this conscious people, like about 5 of us on the whole entire beach. You'll find conscious people in a conscious state.
That's because when those times of mornings, once again, we're talking about energy again, and this show is about energy, whether it's good or bad. But during the wee hours of the morning, keep in mind you have the planet Earth is populated with people, and everybody is connected to the collective consciousness of the planet. There's time frames, depending on where you are on the planet, where most of the population might be asleep. When the most of the population is asleep in a geographical location, you have less people pulling from the collective reservoir of consciousness, which means if you're up, there's more of that energy that's abundant for you. And it's easier for you to tap into because there's less consciousness clutter that's bombarding the airways. It's kind of like, imagine this. Imagine going to a concert and everybody in there on their cell phone on a live call. That energy in there will be so thick from the people plus the cell phones and the short radio waves flowing through the air, it will feel insane. So when you're at night, when the wee hours of the morning and the moon is full, it ain't even got to be full, but I'm just saying that's more energy. But when you're up at that hour and everybody is predominantly asleep during that time, the energy in the air is more subtle and it's less, there's less clutter. That's why if you're going to do any type of spiritual work, that's the best time to do it, because the energy is not being sucked up by everybody when they're in their conscious state.
Right.
That's why I be up late.
So, yeah, I miss the beach like that though, man. I miss like visiting the beach late at night like that, laying on the sand. Just miss to see the moon just vibrate off the, you see the moon from the water, the waves just sitting right on top of it.
This nigga said,
but my mind
like a
is
light bulb.
So I used to get scared though, because you know how my mind is, man. I think I couldn't stay long because I envisioned things coming out the water and all kinds of stuff, or you know what I mean? Like I had to start. I have to leave after a certain amount of time because you know what I mean.
I'm you know what? Back in the day when I was much younger, I used to think that. I used to love being down on the beach at night, but I used to think the same thing. Like eventually something's gonna come out of the darkness of that water up on the sand. Like it's just wasn't, programming. That's all. Programming. But we're at the 156 mark, approaching 2 hours. So we had a long show. Is there anything that anybody wants to add in closing on energy?
I think we covered a lot. Maybe not everything, but I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, I think we covered a lot. Well, I'll just say, like I said before, is energy a friend or foe? It's both, depending on how you interface with it. But you are affected by it all the time, all aspects of your life. Your life is an energetic experience. So I think it's important to know that, and this is something my teacher used to always tell us, to be always try to train yourself to be more aware of your mind and your thoughts. Get in control of that shit, because it can cause things to be very, very challenging for you, or it can make things very easy for you. And so being aware and reflecting is important. Make that a practice of your everyday life. And that's why you'll become more aware of the things you say to people. You'll become more aware of the thoughts that you have about people, because those energies reach people. They're projected outwardly from individuals, and they will find you. So friend or foe, energy is what it is. We are energy beings, and everything about us is energy. Our whole existence is nothing but energy in motion. So with that being said, practice, man. Just practice being aware of how you put it out and what you want to receive.
You know what I used to do too? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, John.
Have you ever tried to like channel your energy to where you had like a specific person, like you have a specific person on mind, and
yes,
channel them to like either call you or send you a message or something, just to see if your energy was working?
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times. Plenty
Yeah,
of
I actually
times.
got a
It
call
works.
last night. I actually got actually talked to somebody last night I ain't seen in a while. I started because they popped up on the scene a couple of days ago on Facebook. Haven't talked to them in a while, so I thought about them and everything, and then they text me their number and all that stuff. I'm like, okay, it's weird,
That's
but
energy and motion. That's
yeah,
real energy and motion. But the most potent and most powerful way to channel and send and manifest that energy is through sex magic. That is the most powerfulest way to take that energy and manifest anything you want in existence, whether it be good or bad. And you need a man and a woman for that, because the man has to have the idea of what it is that needs to be brought into existence. The woman has the ability to pull it from universe and manifest it in the physical. So the both of them together, and this is a whole science of sex magic. They can manifest whatever. But most people by default, they'll have sex because it feels good and all that jazz. Don't get me wrong.
that's sad.
But when you understand
that we have it just for that now. Like it turned into more of a
now that
ceremony and just some just we don't have
the fact
sex
that
we're
well, here's the thing. All of that has to change because we're having a conversation now. I'm not the only person that's having this conversation now. It's just now we're coming into our, like I said, we're moving into a phase of our evolution where things like this are becoming common knowledge. And I'm going to tell you, when I have to go and get supplies for, things that I have to do, I see people in there and I'm looking at them like, what are you doing in here? Everyday average people. So people are getting more acclimated into, doing things spiritually to enhance their lives. They're not openly talking about it,
Right.
but it's just where we are, whether you want to accept it or not. But sex magic, sexual alchemy is something that those advanced souls, if you really want to get a grip on things, then that's something that you should learn about, especially if you're out here engaging in adult relations. The bottom line is, if you are, then learn how to benefit from it ultimately to manifest, because women are portals. They're the gateway for that energy. They're the ones who bring energy from the unknown to the known, because a baby physically comes from mom. Her body weaves the bones and the brain and the heart. Her body is weaving that from all the food she's eating.
Mhm.
But the essence of that child is pulled from the unknown by mom and dad, but mostly mom, and channeled down into that vessel that she is creating. So she has the ability to pull from the universe and give birth to it, not just physically a baby, but she has the ability to give birth to your thoughts. She has the ability to give birth to your ideas if you know how to utilize female energy properly. It's a woman. They are it. They the shit. It is what it is. Sorry. Yep. It's them. They are the shit. They are the portal, the gateway. This shit ain't going down without them. Anybody talking about they can't do it without her, they goofing. So
Sleeping. Are you sleeping?
yeah, he's fighting it. So yeah, I think we had a great show. Yeah, everything was cool. On closing, I'm gonna tell everybody, do some homework, man. Never believe anything that I say. Your job is to prove me wrong. That's what I always say. Don't believe what I say, but prove me wrong, which means you have to do homework. You have to do homework. And that's how it was given to me. What'd you say?
That's the way to look at it, more deep.
That's right, brother. DCR. So on that note,
The code name. Oracle.
what'd you say?
The Oracle.
You see, you called it an oracle. Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and
Can you hear me?
huh?
It says it's good news.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. I am your brother Mordeeb. This is Brainwashed on Heavy, where you come to get your brain washed on the heavy cycle because your brains are extremely dirty. I am your host, Mordeeb. Brother DCR, co-host. And my co-host, Sister J. We'd like to say peace to everybody. Y'all have a nice evening and enjoy the show. Subscribe, share, check us out on YouTube, and yeah, please subscribe and share and replay and replay and replay and replay. It is all gravy, baby. And on that note, I'm gonna say peace. And it's all energy, man.
Dude. Hey, dude. Man, he can sleep so good, man. I'm jealous.